Hello, everyone. My name is Edward S. Redcar, and I'm the host of Edward S. Redcar's Entertainer Chat. And today I have the extreme pleasure of talking with Dave Haws. And he's just so many things that actually I had to write everything down because can't possibly remember everything that he does. It's amazing. He's a producer, a director, cinematographer. He makes films for short films and commercials. He started the first annual Santa Barbara Indie Film Fest, which we will talk about for sure. And that was held in August 26 and 27 last year, 2023. I'm not finished yet. He's known for the MX Nation film in 2016, the Disposable Hero, the Brian Deegan story in 2006, and in 2010 for the film The Moto Inside the Outdoors. So, with that all being said, and I'm not out of breath yet, welcome to my show, Dave, and how are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me on, Edward.
Oh, it's
I think maybe just maybe you had me confused with another filmmaker there on those last couple credits, though.
Okay. Oh, let me record that again, Dave. Let me
Yeah. Do you
record
want to
that
start
again.
over on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. My name is Edward S. Redcar, and I'm the host of Edward S. Redcar's Entertainer Chat. And today I have the extreme pleasure of talking with Dave Haws. He's so many things. I had to write everything down because can't possibly remember everything. It's just amazing. He's a producer, a director, a cinematographer. He makes films for short films and commercials. He started the first annual Santa Barbara Indie Film Fest, which we'll get into a little bit later. And that was first held August 26 and 27 last summer of 2023. He's worked on some pretty impressive projects, most notably Criminal Minds, CSI Miami, the TV show Snowfall, the film Star Wars Obi-Wan, and also Rush Hour 3, and the 2009 films Star Trek, and also Little Falkers. So with all those credits under your belt, Dave, I welcome you to the show. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Edward, for having me on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, and thank you for graciously accepting my invitation to be on my show. It's a extreme pleasure, and I've been looking forward to speaking with you since the Chandler International Film Festival in Chandler, Arizona. I gotta
Yeah.
give that shameless plug for the both of
Oh
us.
yeah. No,
We were
that was a
both
good one.
that's we were both there. We were both there.
Yeah.
So met a lot of good people, had a good time, connections, friends, and all that. So yeah. What I usually like to do, like when I start my show, whether it's actor, producer, director, writer, dancer, whatever in the entertainment field, I always like to get like a little flavor of how they got interested in what they're doing today, how they got into the business, things like that. So I'll pose the question to you. Um, since I mentioned producing, directing, cinematography, uh, how did you become interested in all those areas?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. The Dave Haws origin story. Yeah, right. Well,
That's
I'll tell
right.
you what, it's kind of an interesting little story. One of my first jobs out of high school here in Santa Barbara, that's where I live. I
Okay.
was working at the movie theater. Okay. And
Okay.
so just being a kid out of high school, I mean, look, when you're young, who doesn't love movies, right? So
Right,
I got
right,
a
right.
job.
That's
Yeah, so
right.
I got a job in a movie theater. And
Cool. Cool.
one of the perks, I mean, look, minimum wage, right? You get paid nothing. But and this
Basically, yeah,
yeah.
basically nothing.
And look, this was back in 1995, okay,
Right.
495, a long
Mm-hmm.
time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum wage wasn't a lot, but I'll tell you what, I got to see free movies. Okay, that was like the big perk. And for me, when I was working in the theater, the standout movies to me were Braveheart and The Shawshank Redemption.
Ah,
So yeah, so I went and saw Braveheart like on a Wednesday afternoon or something, and I sat front and center a young Dave Haws just looking up at the screen and the horse is charging, and it was just like an amazing, amazing film. And
Right,
then
right, right.
and then I saw Shawshank Redemption, which is it's like the opposite. It's a heavily dramatic film,
Hmm, hmm,
but the great Frank Darabont directed that,
hmm,
and
hmm.
ironically, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but that movie was not a commercial success. It was actually kind of a flop, but it was a great, great film. And
Uh-huh.
watching all those other films during that time, it just inspired me,
Right, right.
and
So,
it inspired me. And so, like, I was just going into college at that time, and
okay.
so I ended up at Santa Monica College for a couple years.
Hmm,
And then
hmm.
when I was there, I really wanted to go to USC, but I was paying my own way, and I looked into how much tuition cost, and
Oh,
well,
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
there
That's
went that dream.
that's got a lot to do with it. The
Yeah,
money issue's got a lot to do with it. Yeah, yeah.
sure,
Yeah, yeah.
sure. But I
Yeah.
ended up at another fantastic film school, which has just grown in leaps and bounds over the
Okay.
last number of years, and that's Cal State Northridge.
Hmm.
So, so I graduated Cal State Northridge, and as a matter of fact, before I even graduated, I had taken jobs in the film industry as just opening level stuff like PA and things like that. By the time I graduated, I was already working on independent films and already working on TV shows, and I was off and running. I was off to the races.
Wow. Wow, that's
So that's
amazing.
that's kind of how it all started, and that was back in the right around 2000. So I've been doing this for over 20 years at this point.
Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about getting involved in producing that side of the entertainment business. Um, when you were in high school, were you involved in any like school productions, musicals, dramas, and
You know,
was that in the back of your mind in high school or not at
no,
all?
no, not at all. I was a typical Santa Barbara surf bum.
Okay.
All I cared about was girls and surfing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
the usual pastimes, right?
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, look, when I was a kid though, I still loved watching movies, and for
Okay.
me, particularly, the ones that stand out was the summer of 1989 had a lot of just really good movies, and I was just getting out of junior high and getting into high school, and we
Okay.
had, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, Batman came out that year in that
Oh, okay.
summer.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
original Batman with John Keaton,
Yeah.
Bill Keaton,
Oh, yes.
and
Oh, yeah.
The Abyss.
I'm Batman. Batman.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And The Abyss came out, which was just I loved The Abyss as a kid, watching that in the theater.
Okay.
And my favorite Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Still love that movie to this day.
Yeah.
So as a young man, as a kid, basically those movies, they made an impact on me.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so would it be safe to say that when you saw the movie Braveheart, when you used to go to the movies, that Mel Gibson had a big influence on you to push you in the direction that you're going now, or
I
or
mean,
just the movie as a whole?
yeah, just the movie as a whole, I would
Okay.
say, and the funny thing is, while I was working at the movie theater, I never really thought that that was a career. To me, I was just a kid working in a movie theater. I loved movies, but then I actually met my who I'm married to now, my wife. I actually met her at the movie theater. We were coworkers together, and she was going to the Brooks Institute of Photography here in Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
and she was pursuing film. So Brooks Institute of Photography not only taught, they were world renowned for teaching still photography, but at the
Okay.
time they were expanding into media, production,
Right,
editing,
right,
that sort of thing. And
right,
so
right.
and so kind of that seed was planted in the back of my head, like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is something that I can do. And so when I went to Santa Monica College and I started pursuing my college courses, it was really weighed heavily on my mind, and I decided pretty quickly that that's what I wanted to do. So I kind of suffered through my undergraduate classes, algebra and art history, some of the stuff that I wasn't
Yeah,
so interested
yeah.
in.
I hear
I was
you.
kind of,
I hear you. Been there, done that. I hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But once I got into my graduate classes and I got to go do film production and all that stuff, it was just I was just in love. It was just
Right, right,
yeah, it's just
right,
what I love to do.
right, right.
Yeah.
You were you were bitten by the cinema bug, right? The cinema
Oh,
bug, if you
yeah,
want. Yeah. I
yeah,
know,
absolutely. I
I
mean,
know, I
yeah, so,
know, yeah, I know I was bitten by the acting bug when I was 12 or 13, and I haven't recovered from that disease yet, so
it's it's kind of a curse sometimes, or
it is, it is, isn't it?
yeah,
It's yeah.
yeah, it's kind of
So,
funny.
you were
Yeah,
talking about getting involved in that in college and things like that. And
yeah,
aside from high school, you said that you didn't get involved in that even in high school. Uh, Say like when you were younger, like when you were growing up, say before high school,
yeah,
were like a lot of like some filmmakers, they'll start out and maybe they'll get uh like a few of their friends and they'll want to make a movie or did you
sure.
get involved in any of that? Say,
You know what?
Hey Johnny and Bobby, I got an idea. Let me get in front of the
Yeah,
little cat.
I mean, a little bit, a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't have a video camera growing up. We just didn't
Okay.
have one. At one point in time, we borrowed one from my aunt and uncle, and it was the old VHS, shoulder mounted, lens on
The old
there. Yeah,
VHS. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was just before the handy cams, It wasn't a little handy cam with a flip out screen.
Right, right,
This was a
right.
shoulder mount, and I mean, this is probably in the mid '80s we're talking about now,
I know
right?
it. I know it.
This is a long time ago.
Well,
And we goofed around a little bit and made a couple little surf
okay.
videos and made a couple of
Okay.
little
Oh,
things.
surf
And
videos.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
a surf video, the summer of, right? Something like with that kind of an angle to it, the summer of
yeah, yeah.
surfing videos. Yeah. Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
It's a funny little story about that. There were some other kids making a movie one summer, and I wanted to get involved really, like, kind of desperately. But it's kind of interesting in that I wasn't cool enough for them, and so
Oh, okay.
they kind of like brushed me aside. They're like, "Oh no, Dave, you don't we're doing this on our own, and
Right,
and
right.
you just go surfing or whatever." And I remember being a little disappointed about that, but being kind of part of who I am, a lot of things just I let it roll off my back,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
just
That's
move
right.
on with life,
Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so.
But now they can see who you've become today, and so they probably wish they didn't kind of ignore you like that, right?
Well, look, they're selling insurance. I'm making movies.
And there you
Yeah,
go, right?
that's
And
right.
let's see, what do I got? What I could do? Well, I can't drop. I'll wreck my computer. But
Yeah,
drop the mic, right? On that
that's
statement, drop
right.
the mic.
That's
Yeah.
right. Drop the mic. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So now that you had all that foundation from schooling and loving movies, um,
Hmm.
I'd like to get on the subject of a very talked about movie, your most recent short film, The Delicate Cycle, uh,
Yeah.
which the writer and director was Catherine King, Renee
Yep.
Garcia, producer, casting director, Jimmy Sloan did the music. Dean
Yep.
Norris Jr. was the lead actor, and
Yeah.
everybody knows his dad, Dean Norris, who plays the role of DEA agent Hank Schrader on Breaking Bad. You had
Yep. Breaking
Frank,
Bad.
yeah, Breaking Bad. That's no small series, and
Yeah.
I was glad to see that not only his son was at the festival, but also Dean was there too at the Chandler. So that
Yeah. That
was
was great.
oh yeah, that was an added surprise and a bonus there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story about that?
Sure, sure.
So, so
I'm
when
all ears. Go ahead.
so when Catherine was when we were casting the movie, I wasn't involved deeply in the casting process, but that was mostly Renee and Catherine. But they
Okay.
had a number of actors, how you normally do when you're casting the film.
Right, right.
Renee and Catherine did not know that Dean Norris Jr. was Dean Norris Sr.'s kid. They didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, so he doesn't go by Dean Norris Jr. He just goes by Dean Norris, right?
oh, okay,
And so the
okay.
funny thing is, they're like, oh, here's little Dean, just here's this young man named Dean, and he's auditioning for the part. And they didn't put two and two together. Like it was kind of funny. So when he got cast for that film, we did not know that his dad was, DEA agent Hank,
Yeah.
from Breaking Bad. We didn't know that. Nobody knew that. So Dean Norris Jr. got that part organically. And that's actually really cool because nobody truly knew who he was. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
and even on production, he's just, I was there, I was shooting it, we were all doing it. Dean Norris Sr. didn't come to the set. He wasn't there. He was there with his mom. And
Oh, okay. Oh, so
it's,
nobody knew who his mother
no,
is. Oh, okay.
yeah, no,
Okay.
because she's not on camera. She's,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's just kind of funny. And so at the end of the shoot, we were getting everybody's social media and phone numbers to exchange and whatnot. And then Catherine came over to me and she's like, Dave. I was like, what? What's going on? I'm like trying to wrap equipment. She's like, that's Dean Norris Jr. And she pulled it up on her phone. She's like, look who his dad is. And she showed it to me on the phone. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh, we
Right.
did. So it was a very happy surprise
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
for all of us. But I guess what that really means is more than anything, congratulations to Gene Norris Jr. because he earned it.
He
He earned it.
did.
He got the part on his own,
He
not
did.
because of who he is or anything. And
Right. Right.
he knocked it out of the park. He did a great
Right.
job.
Right.
The
Right.
entire cast knocked it out of the park. I mean, my gosh,
Oh
you know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean I was amazed. Yeah, I was there at the screening there when he was appeared at the Q&A with all of us up front Q&A
yep,
and everything, and yeah, that was just amazing. Like I didn't know that he was Dean's son either. So when I found that out,
right,
I was just as surprised as you were,
yeah,
when you first found out. And probably, like you mentioned, he didn't use the junior. Probably if he did
no.
with the junior, that would have been a real giveaway right there, right?
Yeah, that's like a tip off, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's so obvious. Yeah, but no, that's a nice way that they did that. Not using the
Yeah.
junior and only having him show up on set with his mom, keep everything
Yep.
low key. And like you said,
Yeah.
that he obtained it organically like that. So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so just tell us like a little bit about what the story is about and
Sure.
um the amount of crew that you had to shoot that film because it was done
Yeah.
fairly quickly, right? Like over a few
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Over the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the movie is about a young boy who goes to a laundromat early in the morning, like really early, like like 4 in the morning, and he meets kind of a disheveled, kind of quasi-homeless older gentleman, and they end up talking and they form a bond. And then basically what the movie's about is it's about getting to know people, opening up to them, and like just opening up yourself to a stranger and learning about them. And then what happens in the movie is, there's a little bit of a betrayal of trust and whatnot. But in the end, they both learn and grow from their experience, from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a touching interpersonal drama, is what it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So uh uh was there wasn't that large of a crew that you made this in that short period of time? Or
Yeah. So we filmed over a weekend. Just 2 days. It was a 20-minute movie, so
Mhm,
that's what
mhm.
roughly 10 pages a day, which is pretty healthy. The crew size was not particularly big. I mean,
Okay.
I was the cinematographer as well on that. I had a first AC, we had a sound guy, we had a hair and makeup, we had Renee doubled as the AD, we had
Okay.
a
Okay.
gaffer and a key grip, and I said sound, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, so we had like 6, 7
Okay.
people. We had somebody doing behind the
Okay.
scenes. So it's a pretty micro crew. I mean, it was not,
Right.
like
Right.
I said, I've been on these big productions where there's 150
Right.
people in the
Right.
crew. But no, this was on the complete opposite end in that
Okay.
this
Okay.
was a classic micro crew budget.
Right.
Or
Right.
micro budget,
Well,
micro crew. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's really typical, like for or average or ordinary for like indie films to have
Yeah.
people like double up on different jobs, doing one
Yeah.
thing with another. Yeah, yeah. So that
Yeah. You have to.
oh no, you do have to,
Yeah.
especially like you were saying that it only recurred like over a couple days. So yeah,
Hmm.
everybody has to pitch in and yeah, do a little extra part to bring everything to a close there. So
Yeah. Yeah. But it
well,
turned out great. I'm
oh,
very
it
happy
did.
with it.
Oh, it did. Oh, it did. It did. It did. And did you have to kind of lock the doors to keep people who really needed to do their wash, or did you do it like
Yeah,
maybe 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody was up yet? And
yeah. So that's a great question. So very funny story about that is we had to film overnight because the laundromat was open during the day. So the
yeah,
laundromat
yeah.
closed at I believe 10 o'clock. So we got in there at 10 p.m. and we're filming each day until about 6 or 7 in the morning when they opened. And the location is in like Venice Beach. So yeah,
Oh, wow, a
we
busy
had some
part
like
of, wow.
so Venice Beach, California, right? So we had some stragglers try to come in during filming. It was pretty funny. And fortunately, our lead actor, Fred, big giant guy. I mean, gosh, he's like 6'4", 6'5". And he had to get loud with somebody because the person was like insisting on coming in and doing laundry right in the middle of
Oh,
our shoot. And we're like, no, no, you gotta go. And he wasn't really
he wasn't getting it, it didn't click in his mind,
no,
right? This is a
no.
movie.
So Fred had to come over and kind of he didn't manhandle the guy, but like
No, 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 no,
he's
no,
he's
no.
a big physically imposing person, and he had
I
to
know.
impose upon him that he cannot do laundry.
No, no, I know.
Yeah.
So,
So that was kind of fun. And we
yeah,
actually got rained out because we had some outdoor scenes at the end of the movie that
yeah,
we were
yeah.
gonna film on actually we're going to film we filmed a Friday and a Sunday. And
Okay,
on the Friday, well, I guess it would have been Saturday morning there was rain when we were supposed to film outside. It
okay,
didn't so we had to cancel that part of the
okay.
shoot and we pushed it to the next day.
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
and the schedule got a little messed up. Things didn't work out perfectly, but hey,
Yeah,
welcome to filmmaking because
right.
that's just how it goes.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
always a problem that you have to overcome.
yeah, I was just going to ask you that, like different days that you might have had to cancel, like you said, because of inclement weather, things like that. Did you ever maybe envision as like another option, or not only on this film, but like other, that you've done, like with bad weather, if you have to do it outside, where you have to switch up things and move
Yeah,
like the scene inside and
yeah,
like create a new scene, but with like the same dialogue.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, as a filmmaker, you have to think on your feet always, like
Right.
always. There's there's like a million things that go wrong, and I guarantee 10 things will go wrong. Like things will go wrong on your shoot. I have never been on a shoot that has just gone perfectly. It just doesn't happen that way.
No, no,
So
no.
either as a director or a producer or director of photography, or to be honest, no matter what your position is, you have to be ready to like
That's right.
stick and move and pivot and
That's
change
right.
your strategy at a moment's notice.
That's right.
Because look, depending on where you're shooting, the clouds might come in and bam, it's raining for 20 minutes. Or
Hmm.
your actress shows up 2 hours late and you got to film another scene because you can't wait around 2 hours for the actress, right? So
Right.
you always have to be ready to move, pivot, and it's but that's one of the things I really love about the filmmaking process is that it keeps you on your toes. Like
Right.
you have to be a problem solver and a
Hmm.
quick thinker.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So yeah, well, yeah, that's a good thing because like no 2 days are alike, or even
yeah,
different times in the same day are never alike, right? So
that's right.
that's what keeps our artistic juices flowing, if
Yeah.
you want to term it that way. So
You wash your clothes really early.
Play video games really early. Go to the liquor store and get me a hot dog. Would you? It's just across the street.
A hot dog? For breakfast?
Yeah! And get yourself one. So what's your name?
Adam.
Adam! I'm Lance.
Are those your kids?
They were my kids.
You didn't want to see them when they were little kids?
Do I look like a beacon of moral success?
Yeah, another film that you've come out with to keep the artistic juices flowing,
Yeah,
which in fact is a previous film to this, a kids action adventure film called Kangaroo Kids. It
yeah,
was filmed in April 2023, and you were the associate producer and the
that's
second
right.
unit cinematographer. And I thought this was absolutely amazing. What better atmosphere to work in is you said that you were able to work with your boys, Will and Cam, on this project.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
saw
So
that. I thought
yeah,
that was amazing. I says, man, I said, come on in, come on in,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, my boys as in my friends, not my actual kids, but yeah. So that was a fun project that I worked on in Kentucky. Like I said, April 23. Uh, we were just talking about rain and inclement weather.
Yeah.
Listen, and guess what happened in Kentucky? We got rained on. It like we got dumped on one day so bad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we had to move to a different set, to what we call a cover set. So it
Yeah.
was out of the rain, and so we just shot some stuff. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, Will and Cam, those guys, those are great guys. We hired a lot of college students from Kentucky Western University in Bowling
Oh,
Green,
really?
Western
Okay.
Kentucky University, and
Okay.
Will and Cam were students, and so Will was my first AC, my focus puller, and
Okay.
Cam was one of the grips.
Mhm.
So those were fun guys. It's always fun getting to know young guys and
Yeah. Yeah.
young filmmakers. I'm always willing to share my knowledge that I've built up over the years and tell them the
Mhm.
little secrets, like the secrets that
That's right.
that I didn't know as a young
That's
filmmaker.
right.
You know,
Like they say, pay it forward, right? If you got
that's
some
right.
advice to give, that's going to make it a little
Yep.
easier for the next generation coming up, if you want to term it that way, the better.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was just going to ask you, like you were saying that both of them were like college students. I was just going to ask
Yeah.
you, which you answered my question for me, if they were like cinematography students, film students. So that's great that you had that resource to go to, that the young kids at least had an interest and an idea of how things sort of work in the film business, but
Sure.
you giving them that opportunity gave them like the real, like behind the scenes
Yes.
experience like that. And that's
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's good because Kangaroo Kids was an independent feature as well, but it had what I would call a medium-sized crew rather than
okay.
like a micro crew. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it
Okay.
didn't have like a full budget crew where you have, like I said, 150 people or whatever. It wasn't like that. That crew was
Okay.
probably closer to 20 to 30 people or
Well,
so. But
I mean, that's a pretty good
it's healthy.
size. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at that point you have, your art director. You have, well, of course, hair and makeup. You
Uh-huh.
have. It's expanded. You just have more people to do all your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, like
And
they had a full art department. Like they need, on a lot of the bigger projects, you need a full art department. You need a
oh
full grip
yeah.
and lighting crew. You need, we actually had three cameras on that movie. So, it was pretty wild. Yeah, no, we had a pretty healthy sized crew for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And how long did it take to film that?
Well, that's a great question. Uh, because
What?
limited budgets on a lot of films like that.
Right, right.
We filmed it in, I believe, 15 or 16 days. I forgot the exact number.
Okay, okay.
6-day weeks. So you're working Monday through Saturday, one day off. So it's two 6-day weeks and then like 3 or 4 more days,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie, well, when it was cut together, it was about 2.5 hours. So we
Okay.
were filming quite a bit. I mean, we were very, very busy on that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So without revealing too much about the movie,
Yeah.
um
Well, we can talk about it. I mean, it's available to watch on
oh,
Sunstream.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's out. It's out. You
okay.
just gotta
Yeah,
you gotta
talk away
subscribe.
then. Talk away. I'm all ears and so is everybody out there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a new streaming network called Sunstream. That's SUNN.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so sunstream.com. And that was a Sunstream original. They wanted to make their own original content. You know how like Netflix has their own and Hulu has their own. So
Yeah.
so they made their
Yeah.
own original content. So that is a Sunstream exclusive. And the basic premise of the story is that there's these young kids working in a zoo, and they get this new kangaroo that's like a new big exhibit, like to draw on tourists. And so what happens is, I'm just going to summarize it very quickly. Some kind of like bad guys are hired to steal this kangaroo and take it away. And it's a kind of like a whole adventure action film of, these guys trying to steal the kangaroo and take it away, and all the different characters and stuff. It's a really fun, good kids movie is what it is. Yeah. So yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So who starred in this film? Like the lead actor?
Yeah, her name is Josefina, and her last name is eluding me right now. I should probably have that better at the tip of my tongue. But yeah, she's a young girl from Chile, actually.
Oh, okay.
She's a
Okay.
Chilean, but the movie was in English, and
Right,
so
right.
she's the star. But there's a whole huge cast of characters in it. Branscombe Richmond was the main producer, and he's also in it. He's kind of like one of the goofy bad guys that's kind of hired to steal the kangaroo. And there's Mikey Kehoe, which is one of his associates, which is it's like there's this little group of three bad guys. They're kind of like these kind of like bumbling bad guys that have been hired to. They're like your lovable bad guys, right? Almost like Home Alone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're kind of like, but they end up being good guys in the end, which is cool. It's because Kangaroo Kids is it's a story of redemption as well. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would encourage anybody to go sign up for Sunstream and go check it out, because it's a really good one.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, every once in a while you got to have a bad guy that everybody likes, right? I mean, you got
Yeah.
to insert that in there somewhere. Can't all be like a bad and heavy atmosphere. You got to kind of lighten it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, these are goofy bad guys. They're not really bad guys, There's
So
only one truly bad guy, and he's not even really that bad.
right. So
Yeah.
so would it be safe to say that they're sort of like the Home Alone bad guys that try to break into the house, something like that?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Give me some time.
I need your loan current in 48 hours.
They say this zoo's about to go bankrupt.
That is not true. This zoo is not going anywhere. If Molly doesn't go out on that stage, then we will lose the zoo, and everyone here will lose their jobs.
You never keep your promises. You never do.
Get that kangaroo and get it now. I was afraid of this.
Yeah. Besides all these films that you've done, one thing that I really wanted to talk about is this new film festival that you started last year.
Yeah.
The Santa Barbara Indie Film Festival, which you are the founder of. And in 2023, the first year of it, it was a big success. So I wanted to ask you what inspired you to start the festival, and what are your plans in the future with it? Keep making it bigger and
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Well, I started it's kind of funny. So growing up in Santa Barbara, there's also the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, which has grown by leaps and bounds over the past couple years, and they just had it, geez, just a couple weeks ago here in Santa Barbara. They're pulling in people like Bradley Cooper, so many stars and celebrities. I mean, it's no longer just like a little Santa Barbara cool festival. It's like a big deal, major festival now, which is totally cool.
Mhm.
But what that kind of does is it kind of leaves. I mean, look, it's just unless you have like a super high end film, basically, you're probably not going to get into that festival, which is
Yeah.
fine. I mean, the festivals have their standards and all
Right,
that
right,
stuff.
right. One of
And
those,
so
yeah, one of those
yeah,
festivals that if you're a filmmaker, you have to work up to it, right? You can't just
yeah,
say,
absolutely.
I'm here, show my film. You gotta work up to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, not everybody can go to Sundance.
No,
It
no,
just it
no,
just doesn't work that way. It's
no.
just the world. So I decided to start a smaller, kind of more upstart festival called the Santa Barbara Indie Film Festival, and we cater to independent filmmakers, and we have youth categories for high school kids and under. So that
Oh,
kind of
really? That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I want to really encourage youth filmmakers to get out there and make their little movies, and I want them to have an outlet for
Mm-hmm.
their art
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of kids, like we were saying, like when I was a kid, I didn't make movies, but there are other kids that do want to make movies, and they're pretty serious about it. Some of these kids, and if you make a movie as a high school kid, where are you going to show it? You're going to put it on YouTube, maybe. You're going to show it to your family, but you really have no outlet for your cinematic art. Whereas, like, if you're a kid in high school that has a band, well, you can go have your performances, and the kids will come over. If you're in football, people come see your football games. But
Right.
kids who are into cinema, they have very little outlets for their art, and I wanted to provide them a platform
Yes.
where they
Yeah.
could express themselves, basically.
Right. Yeah, now that
Yeah.
you mention that, that gets me to thinking that I think that's the way it is all over, that like the younger filmmakers uh don't really have that many outlets at a young age that they're interested in, like
Right.
high school or even younger, even if you're interested in, well, like these days, it's like everybody has one of these, and the kids, they're like,
Yeah,
the kids are geniuses at this. If you got a problem on
that's
it, they'll
right.
say, "Oh yeah, here's a button," and just scrolling as a. But even for young kids that want to start out like on a cell phone, and all kids have cell phones today,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it's a great outlet.
yeah,
Uh, well, I imagine in that festival, do you like accept submissions, say uh, like a young kid first starting out, I don't know, maybe they might be 12 or 13 or whatever. If they're just making like a short little film of their own, like with a cell phone, do you
sure.
accept those too?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I mean, it kind of runs the gamut on the submissions. Um, but most of the youth submissions are usually high school kids. I have not gotten any from younger kids yet, but I mean, it's certainly open for them. And I'll tell you what, as the years go by, if I get enough submissions from like young kids, say like junior high and below, I'd probably want to do a different category because you can see the differences. I mean, between films, between like high school kids who are like 16, 17 versus
Yeah,
kids in college that are like,
right.
18, 19, 20. Like they just
Yeah,
grow by leaps and bounds very quickly. And so
yeah,
that's why I put the cutoff at 18 years old. So
right,
18
right,
and younger, or high school graduate and younger, for the younger categories. And then once you're over 18 and once you're in college, welcome to the big show, kid. You
right.
know, you're part of, you're
Yeah,
part of the yeah. I don't have a college category. If you're in college, you're competing with everyone. But
right,
I'll tell you what,
right, right.
there
Yeah,
are some good filmmakers
I
that are
know
still
there
out there.
are. I know there are. I mean,
Yes,
it's amazing. I mean, different film festivals that I went to, and seen the screenings. It's just amazing how these younger people are so professional, right?
yes.
In
Oh,
their
it's incredible.
film, short films. I mean, it's just amazing. It's like the professionalism and the technical aspects. It's like if you looked at it quickly, you could swear that it was made by an adult. I mean, an older
Yes.
adult, I should say, an older adult.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the winner, the best short film for our first year, our first festival, happened to be a thesis project for a young man in Georgia.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I forgot which school he went to, but that was his. I mean, look,
Oh,
that's a
okay.
college project,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
out of control how good it was.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was just going to ask you if that was a like a college cinematography student, but no, I know it's amazing. It's amazing what they can do. Well, I imagine they learn so much is because like nowadays versus like, back in the 80s or 90s or something, things are so much more accessible, right? Like you can, if you want to know something, it can't teach you everything, but it'll give you
oh
like
yeah,
a start, like Google and anything. I mean, that's a great
oh yeah.
resource, Great,
Oh,
great resource.
it's amazing. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, you have the world's knowledge on this little device.
Right,
If
yeah,
if
right.
you want to look if you want to look something up, it's right there in your phone.
That's
So
right.
it's amazing what you can do now versus well when I started out
Yeah,
as a young man, and
right.
there's just there was the, you had to go to the library. I mean, early in my career there was the internet, but there's certainly no smartphones. You know,
No, no,
and,
no, I know it.
and
No.
and in the early days of the internet was different than it is now.
Yeah,
There was
right,
knowledge out there, but it's much more. It's just like much more well-rounded now, I
right,
guess.
right,
Basically, like
right.
you can look anything
I know
that
it. Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
back in the day, you were talking about going to the library. It's like, okay, now every time I go into the library and I'm looking for a certain subject, I've got to remember the Decimi Dual system and what each category is for which book that's under 001.019 category. It was absolutely ridiculous.
yeah, no, it was crazy.
Going through the little card catalog, all this little,
Oh,
oh my gosh.
yeah, it's out of control.
It is, it
Yeah,
is.
and then another thing, like early in my career, it was we shot on film. It was 35 millimeters, well, 16 millimeter film and 35 millimeter film.
Right, right, right.
So when you made a decision and you started rolling film, oh, you had to commit. You had to commit. It's not like now with either the
Right.
iPhones or the
Right.
digital cameras where, oh, okay, no big deal. That take didn't work. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything, right?
That's
But
right.
you
That's
know,
right. That's right. It's
uh,
like it could put you behind like for hours or not hours, only hours, but like days. Okay, we got to reshoot this again, and
oh,
you just
yeah,
can't go through your digital file on your phone and
right,
press delete, and then head on to
yeah,
the next version, whatever
right,
you envision it to be. But yeah, talking about film submissions to your festivals,
yeah,
that got me to thinking about what can a filmmaker do when they're making their film so that they can have it like stand out more above all the other films
yeah,
so that it can be picked to be like an official selection
yeah,
not only in your festival but like any other festival in general.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of factors, but I got to tell you, the first one is you better have good audio. Okay. And this is coming from
Mm.
a guy who has a camera and lighting background. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, right.
Like the one thing you can't screw up is audio.
Hmm.
It's just, oh my gosh,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
so important.
Right. You can have
It's,
you can have this here where you can see, but if you can't hear, forget it. Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or if it's tinny sound or if it doesn't make sense, because humans, um, like if you and I are talking in a living room, there's probably like a normal house, there's probably very little echo, right?
Right.
So,
Because you got the furniture to absorb.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But if you're filming that and then there's echoey audio, it takes the audience out of it just immediately. It's just the way the human brain works. It takes them out of the situation, and to them immediately it's just not believable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not being immersed in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have your audio match the situation. You just need to have good audio. So like if
Right.
you're in an art gallery that's all echoey, then
Yeah.
yeah, okay, you're gonna have a little echo, no big deal, right?
Right,
So, but
right,
you
right.
have to have good audio. And if you don't have good audio, it'll sink your battleship. And I've
Right.
seen like legitimately good movies that had good acting, good lighting, good
Mhm,
camera, but
mhm,
had bad audio.
mhm, mhm.
And to me, that's like the cardinal sin. You just cannot have bad audio.
Oh yeah.
Because I've seen movies with bad camera and bad lighting, but
Mhm,
with good audio and good
mhm,
story. And guess what? It's a good movie. You
mhm.
know? And so that's like the one thing that I'll say that you cannot do.
Yeah.
But beyond that, to help you stand out, I mean, obviously it's best to have all your technicals in place. And what I mean by that is, well, I just talked about audio. It's good to have good camera. It's good to have good lighting. Um, but story is so, so, so important. I cannot stress it beyond the audio, of course. Um, because you know like I said back in the day when you were shooting on film, you had to be very disciplined with it, right? You couldn't screw around. But today, with either your phone or your phone or a
Right.
digital cinema camera, you can just go shoot things really quick, really easy. But a lot of what I see is a lot of people do, they go make a movie and it's like a little slice of life, which is kind of cool, but the character doesn't develop, they don't overcome obstacles. They don't have challenges. They don't grow and learn from their experiences.
Mhm, mhm.
And I guess I'm talking narrative filmmaking at this point, not documentary, but there's
Right.
some truth to the documentary stuff too. So your main character has to have an arc. They have to want something. They have to sacrifice something. They
Mhm,
have to struggle. They have to overcome. They have to learn, grow, and adapt. And at the end, hopefully, you package it all in a nice ending and everything. But a
mhm.
lot of people, they struggle with that. And I'll tell you, to be perfectly honest, it's hard as a young filmmaker or for any filmmaker to develop a character and have them tell a compelling story in as little as 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's a difficult thing to do. So if you can do that as a young filmmaker, if you can have like a complete, well-rounded story, whatever that is, whether it's comedy, horror, doesn't matter.
Mhm,
If you can do that, you're going to be
mhm.
multiple steps ahead of your people, of your competition.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, so good technicals, that's always going to be good because if you don't have good technicals, the festival programmers probably won't like that because I mean, think about it. The festival has to show this
Yes.
and they're selling tickets.
Mhm.
So you as an audience member, like would you want to go see a movie that looks bad,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sounds bad, even though the story might be good, but it doesn't sound good, it doesn't look
Mhm,
good, like
mhm,
you know what I mean?
mhm.
Because
Yeah.
people are paying good money to come
Right,
see
right. No, that
our
yeah,
film. So
yeah.
you want to have solid technicals,
Right.
and then so beyond that, after the solid technicals, like I said, a strong story.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
that's going to help you set you apart.
Yeah. So do you like with your experience during your first film festival last year's version, do you find out like say like especially in the younger kids category, or I should say young adults
Yeah.
category, do you find that most of their or the majority of those films were pretty well up there technically, like you were talking about story, lighting, and especially
Yeah,
sound, or
so that's a difficult thing, especially I mean, look, especially for the high school kids,
hmm.
that's tough. So
Hmm.
so when we judge those films, they're held to a different standard. You
Oh,
know, 'cause,
yeah, naturally, yeah,
you can't
naturally,
you
yeah.
can't judge a high school kid the same that you're going to judge
Yes, yeah,
a
yeah.
full adult. You
Right,
just
right.
it's just not fair.
Yeah, because they
So
don't have
yeah, so
that, yeah.
yeah, so for the youth, I mean, there's a lot of leeway. So on the youth end, I would say what's going to set you apart is your story.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's yeah, how you tell your story, your subject matter. Look, the better technicals you get, that
That's
you
right,
can
the
have, the
better,
better lighting. Great. That's all bonus. That's only going to help you.
right.
But the story. Yeah. Yeah, the story.
Well, since you're talking about stories, I'd like to go back just one more time of things that you've done.
Sure.
This time it was telling the story in a music video, and
Oh yeah.
and I just have to mention that because I found this very interesting. In March 2023, you won the Best Music Video Award at the Independent Shorts Festival for "Feel the Love" by the band Suki Suki.
That's right.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right, right? Suki
You
Suki.
got it. Yeah,
Okay.
Suki Suki.
Yeah, which you produced and directed. So
Yeah.
all the things that I've seen you do, like short films and commercials, and like not not a musical video. This is the first one that I've seen like musical videos. So what was that experience like making the music video? And
Yeah.
have you made a lot of music videos that I'm not aware of, or that I haven't seen?
You know, yeah, it's a funny thing. Back when I made that music video, I was just itching to do a project. And as a matter of fact, I had never made a music video before. I mean, I had worked on lots of music videos as either a lighting guy or camera guy. Like in my early career, I did a lot of camera and lighting, mostly lighting on all these projects that we had talked about earlier. And so I got to sit there and look around and observe from like, the masters basically, right? And so when I went to go make this movie, or sorry, music video, I came up with this concept where I first talked to the band, and then I listened to their songs, and then I came up with this concept for the music video,
Okay, okay.
because the song is called "Feel the Love," right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so I came up with this concept of this young woman in a bar who's kind of a fish out of water, and she wants to leave the bar, and she asks the bartender like, check please, let me get out of here." And the
Okay.
bartender says, "Hey, why don't you stick around a little bit? When these guys play, it's always a good time." So she's like, "Okay, fine." So she sticks around. The song starts, and she, like I said, she's a fish out of water. Well, a guy walks into the bar who's also kind of a fish out of water, and they kind of get grooving and get dancing, start dancing with it, with the song and the music
Yeah, yeah,
video,
yeah. Okay.
and then the whole crowd joins in, and then the crowd gets all overly rambunctious, and then by the end of the video, the crowd has kicked the band out, and the crowd is now taken over, and the crowd is now on the dancers are on the drums. The drummer is up dancing.
Everybody
The
switches off. Everybody
everybody
switches off.
switches off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a real fun. I mean, everyone's feeling the love. That was my idea. That
Right,
everyone's
right.
having a good
Okay.
time and just
Okay.
feeling the love. And so that was
Okay.
kind of that was my concept, and I got to execute it what I would call 90% of my
Uh-huh.
concept.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get to do certain things that I wanted to do, certain shots, because once again, welcome to filmmaking. I ran out
Right.
of time to do
Right.
things,
Right. Yeah.
because I was limited on time with my location.
Uh-huh.
That was shot in a
Uh-huh.
bar called the Wildcat Lounge in downtown Santa Barbara.
That sounds like a good atmosphere. That sounds
Yeah,
real
yeah,
partying atmosphere. Yeah.
yeah, it's a fun place.
Right.
If anybody's ever in Santa Barbara, go to the Wildcat Lounge. It's a good time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Another shameless plug on my show. Go to that place.
come on. They were
Come on
generous.
down. Come on down.
Yeah, they were very generous with their location. So we started film. We got in there at like 6 in the morning, and the club opened up at I want to say 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 or 5. So
That's a good time. That's a good time to open up. Yeah. Well,
yeah, so
the beginning of happy hour, right? Like they say, it's
that's
always
right.
5 o'clock somewhere, or
That's right.
well,
So at 4:30, I'm looking at my watch, and I had like three, four, five more shots. I'm like, oh no, I'm out of time, and that was it. That was it. So I just had to cut the music video together with the footage I had,
okay, okay.
and it turned out pretty good. The one shot that I really should have got that I didn't get was like the dancers pulling the drummer off, and the dancers taking the guitar and playing the guitar. I didn't get that actual shot, but you saw the video, you get the gist. Basically, the crowd takes over the band.
They do. I mean,
Yeah,
it's well, it's not mayhem, but it's like
yeah,
it's like everybody for themselves, do what you want, have fun,
that's
right?
right. That's right.
Just have fun,
Yeah, yeah,
however
that's
you
right.
do it. Yeah.
My goal is to have people smiling and laughing by the
Yeah,
end of the
yeah, yeah, yeah. So then, when you first heard that song, that's when
yeah,
you got the idea to like the envelope the story around that song and the music and the
yeah,
words. And okay, okay.
yeah, yeah. Because the band had like 5 or 6 different songs that I was
Oh,
listening
okay,
to. And there was a couple other songs that Feel the Love actually wasn't even my first choice. There was a couple other songs that I really
Okay.
wanted.
I was going to say,
But
because that's a
yeah,
pretty catchy tune, to or I should say a title, like an attention grabber,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I tend to sway more to the dramatic. And they had another song that was like really heavy and kind of a darker song. And I had a really high concept with it. But it would have cost a lot of money and it would
Okay.
have, so we just had to kind of like back it off and do something kind of simple.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, it turned out excellent because it's
Oh,
like
thanks.
it's like Party Central. I mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't love to go to a place like that? Let's go to Party Central where we can party down and things like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah. Well, go to the Wildcat Lounge and figure it out.
stay there a while and kind of
Yeah.
figure life out. And if you can't figure out, go have a good time,
Yeah.
go dance or
Yeah.
something like
That's
that.
right.
But
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So,
was it was a really fun music video to make. Also stressful because it was a lot of work.
well,
Because not
yeah.
only did I produce it and direct it, I was also on camera.
Oh,
Because
okay. Okay.
because I
Oh,
mean, look, it's budget limited, right? This was a passion project,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so I was trying to save as much money as possible. So I mean, I had a
Right.
buddy, a couple friends come out and do some other things, but
Okay.
there was my good friend Dino. He was on the other camera,
Okay.
multiple cameras, and so yeah, so. But
Okay.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a lot of work. I mean, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of
Yeah.
stress. If I
Yeah.
was to do it again, I would definitely want to take a step back and just have one of the roles,
Right.
whether
Yeah.
it's a director or a producer or a cinematographer, but not all three, too much.
No, no. Well, sometimes pressure is good, but then sometimes pressure is not so good. So this happened to be one of the times where the pressure was good. They gave you a good
Yeah,
result, right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
was
And I,
it was a
and
good time there.
I tr yeah, I also tried to find an editor for it for like 2, 3 months because I didn't want to
Okay.
edit it. Like I can edit, uh, and I just couldn't find an editor, so I ended up editing the music video as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I got a lot of help from my wife, who has a heavy post-production background,
Okay, okay.
which was really helpful.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it took me way longer than it would a real professional editor. They would probably
Okay.
be able to go in there and bust that out in probably a couple days, where it took me like a
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
You know,
Well, like a lot of times, all of us do the best we can with what we know how, right? And
that's
so
right.
it's constantly developing, and we get
Yep.
there. And like they say, as long as you learn from and realizing how things could be better, as long as you learn from that, that's the battle right there. That's the
Yeah.
battle.
Oh, I learned a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll tell you
yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
A project that I was in not a while ago, but more recent than that, still ongoing though. And so they wanted to promote it to like being eventually shown like on Amazon Prime, like that.
Ooh, all right.
And the sound quality that they had was not good enough for Amazon to accept it. It was like,
Ooh,
so
case
that,
in point.
yeah, right. And so that kind of held things up. And so then after that, they were looking for a sound person specifically for sound that could bring that quality up like that. So
Yeah.
eventually, they did find the right remedy for that, but then,
Mhm.
like in the film business, other situations arise. You might solve this problem today, but then tomorrow there's another one that comes up. But at
Always.
least, at least the problem with the audio that was taken
Yeah.
care of. But what you were talking about, especially with sound, that reminded me of that
Yeah.
situation
Can
that
I
I
ask?
experienced. Yeah.
Yeah, can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Was it the sound editing or sound mixing that was a problem, or was it the source audio from the set, like
It
the
was the
original recordings?
it was the source. It was the
Yeah, so the
source
so the source audio was bad.
right at the beginning. So, it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter. how good of an editor you were. I mean, from
Right.
right at the starting line,
Yeah.
it was the sound, it was the audio right there. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
that was
Look, I mean, that's a perfect example that you brought it up. Like I said, bad sound will sink your battleship quicker than anything.
it did, it really did.
Yeah,
Temporarily, but enough to
sure.
put it underwater for a little while.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
righted itself there. But
yeah. I mean, look, to all the young filmmakers out there, putting a camera or a microphone on your camera, that's not good enough. I'm telling you right now, that is not good enough. You have to
mhm.
have lavalier microphones hidden somewhere if it's a narrative. If it's a documentary, it's okay. You can see it. Like I'm not wearing a lav today, but if this kind of situation, it's fine to have a lavalier microphone being exposed.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so you always, and then a boom. Got to have your boom person, doing your audio,
Hmm.
getting, going from one actor to the next actor to the next actor. Uh, it's critical. It's critical. If you don't know how to do it, learn. Go to YouTube. Use this wonderful device that we were talking about. Do
Right,
your research.
right. Yeah.
But it's so critical.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, speaking about critical things, technical and otherwise to that, uh, I imagine that you must have like a lot of other things, projects in the works, and
yeah,
I'd like to have you touch a little bit about that, and then if you like have any future or any plans in the future with producing or directing projects.
yeah, yeah. Well, I have a number of projects in the works, mostly as a producer and or director. Uh, I'm like all over the place because you got to have different possibilities because in this industry, I mean, look, if you're fortunate enough to say I'm a narrative filmmaker and that's all you can do, or not
Hmm.
all that you can do, all that people approach you for, and if that's what you want to do and that's what you do exclusively, great. Like you're one of the very few people in this industry who can do that. But
Hmm.
someone like me, I have to kind of keep my fingers in different parts of the industry. And so what I mean by that is, so yes, I have a couple feature film ideas that I have a comedy script that I've written and that I would love to make and produce and direct. I have a couple reality TV shows. I'm going to be shooting a reality TV pilot as a producer in the next probably a couple months or so. Still working on that with some of the producing partners. I have another TV show that I'm trying to get off the ground. It's related to my film festival. So yeah, so TV shows, reality shows, movies. I've made commercials. I just got to try to stay busy in
Hmm.
any way, shape, or form.
And
Yeah.
in one of those commercials, you were in it, weren't you? Did I see you in a commercial, or was that
Uh,
you? Or
well, my
like,
voice has been used a couple
yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, once again, that was probably because of lack of funding.
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, that's
but
right. Pulling triple duty, right? Not only double
that's
duty,
right.
but triple duty. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you, I'd made a commercial for Lucas and Llewellyn Wines, and
Ah,
I
yes, that stood out. I noticed that one right away.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. And we had the marketing person over at Lucas and Llewellyn. They and I came up with a script together, and they knew somebody who was a voiceover actor, and we had him read some samples, and the way he was reading it was really like a baseball announcer, like okay, and the man's on first, and like his voice had like
Right.
ups and downs and ups
Yeah.
and downs,
And
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 I was
now
just like,
and now he picks up the first bottle. What is he going to do with it? Is he going to sip out of the bottle, or is he going to pour it
that's
in a
right,
wine glass or
that's
something like
right. And this was like trying to be like an elegant wine commercial, and I was like,
that? Right.
it cannot be like that.
That's not going to work at all.
That's
No.
not going to work. And so I tried to actually get him to maybe try to record it with like a more not monotone, but more of an even delivery.
Right. Yeah. Tone it. Bring it down a step. Right. Bring it down a.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but that didn't work, and so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it a crack. I'm just gonna go for it. And so I
Okay.
recorded the voiceover. I sent it off to my nephew, who has a sound background,
Oh,
edit sound
cool.
sound
Cool.
editing background,
Cool.
and he thank goodness for Gabe Alexander. Thank you so much because you made me sound like a real voiceover artist. You know, he used all sorts of mixing software. Apparently,
Okay,
there's a lot of tricks in sound editing.
okay,
And
okay.
look, sound editing is a whole different field in its own. It's a whole deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Most independent films don't really get into sound editing. Usually the editor kind of does some of that. But once you get into the bigger budgets, you have a regular editor, and then you have a sound editor.
Right, right,
Sound,
right.
you have sound design, sound mixing. It's a really, really important thing. It just
Mhm.
goes into all the audio stuff that we talked about. And it
Yeah,
starts with
yeah.
good source audio, of course. So Gabe made me sound like a pro, which was great because I'm
Mhm.
not a pro.
Mhm. Well, I mean, the professional that is speaking those lines and words has to have has to have talent to begin with. So they might embellish what you're doing, but still, I mean, it's the
Yeah. Oh,
talent
yeah.
that you have that got you there in order for them to edit it and embellish it a little bit more.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you got to take. I mean, you have to take some
I'll take
credit,
some
right?
credit. I'll take some
Okay,
credit.
that's right, right, right.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to see you walking away without taking any credit. I want you to
Yeah.
take credit, for
Well,
that.
if there's any professional, voiceover casting agents out there, I'm available.
That's right. That's right.
I'm available
That's
and I'm
right.
looking.
And you all know who you are. So give Dave a ring,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
cell phone call, a text, or
That's right.
whatever. So
That's
he's
right.
all of his contact information is going to be. It's at the
There
end
you
of the
go.
show in the closing segment. So
Yeah.
pause. Don't play through the rest of the interview here, the rest of the segment. Pause it at those different photo
There you go.
stills so that you can write
Yeah.
down all of that important information.
Right
So
on.
I'm plugging for you, Dave. I want to see you
Hey, thank
go.
you. Thank you very much.
And this
Yeah.
and this is and this is for how they say perpetuity. I mean, the wave
Yeah.
going out there and they'll be out there forever. So your
Yep.
contact information is going to be available forever. So
Yeah.
I want to help in any way I can. But
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So you're such an interesting guy, and there's so many things that I was interested, which I asked you about today, and I would really like to thank you for being on my show today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. First meeting you in person at the Chandler and the Chandler International Film Festival. A lot of times it's the other way around. I get to know people like virtually first, like in this virtual world, most of our contact is like on Zoom, right? Zoom or text
Yeah.
or whatever. But this is one of the occasions where I've actually met you first in person, exchange contact information, and yeah, it was such a pleasure to meet and talk with you
Yes.
at the film festival. That I really look forward to speaking with you here today. So. Yeah, once again, thank you for graciously accepting my invitation to be on my show, and thank you once again.
Yeah. Well, Edward, thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you at the
My
festival
pleasure.
and getting to know you and everything. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, and I know somewhere somehow our paths are going to cross again, which paths always cross again somehow. So I
Oh yeah,
look forward to that opportunity. So yeah,
it's
once
great.
again, thank you for being on my show, and everyone, we've been spending some time today with Dave Haws, producer, director, cinematographer, maker of short films and commercial music videos. Has his first ever Santa Barbara Indie Film Festival, which started last year in 2023, and will continue. I know it'll continue on for years and get bigger and bigger and better. So I thank all of you for listening in today. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave any comments that you can think of below this interview in the YouTube comment section of my YouTube film here. And so until Next time when we meet again, I'll say hello and goodbye at the same time. And have a good day. And we'll see you next time. And we'll see you soon. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.